Hello, and welcome to this edition of Mind Podcast. We are very pleased to have this special edition from the World Hindu Congress. This is Aadit Kapadia, and together with me is Sunanda, Vashisht, and we have a very special guest with us, the eminent Professor Makarand Paranjape, who was with the JNU, right now is getting ready for his new assignment in Shimla. Author and one of the foremost public intellectuals in India that I know. So, Professor Paranjape, welcome to Mind Podcast.
I'm delighted to join you again, and I might tell you that I have actually joined IIAS as director.
Oh, you have?
Oh, you
wow.
have.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think it's one of the foremost research institutions of India, and you are just the right person for heading it. It just was, we were just filled with immense joy when we heard about your appointment. So congratulations for that. And coming back to World Hindu Congress, where we are talking for the benefit of our listeners, we are talking on the sidelines of World Hindu Congress. There is a lot going on here. A congregation of 2,500 people, happy people, ready to get onto the global stage, ready to make their voices known. And I have been here, this is my third day here, and it has just been energy, happiness, contacts, and just more and more energy.
Absolutely. And I think it's not just one conference, right?
Yeah.
There are 7 parallel tracks going on. So from media to economy to there's a women's conference, youth conference. I mean, Sunanda and I and Professor Paranjape were all speaking at the media conference. So we were around the media conference for quite a bit of time. But the plenaries, and I'm told the youth conference was very well attended and very energetic.
And
so
the education one.
the education one with
Yes.
star panels. So, Professor Paranjape, what is your takeaway from this?
No, I think this is an extraordinary confluence of Hindus, and it's going to have global ramifications because as you rightly said, the happiness, the positivity, the energy, the message that is going out from here is that Hindus are not intolerant as we are accused of being or narrow-minded, but we are extremely open-minded, pluralistic, and really welcoming people from all stripes of opinion, ideologies to come and listen in. And the RSS Sarsang Chalakji's address, Mohan Rao Bhagwatji's address was astonishing, both in terms of its humility and strategic insight, but also in terms of its deep knowledge and the way he explained the theme of it, which is from the Mahabharata, right? Sumantrite Suvikrante. How he unpacked it as a kind of dialogue between Sri Krishna and Yudhishthira, how they supported each other, whereas, to create unity without uniformity, or to have Hindus work together but separately, because everyone cannot be coerced into one umbrella.
It cannot be a monolith also.
It's not a monolith. So these messages need to go out everywhere. And I mentioned the RSS because the RSS is often the whipping boy, demonized, and we have to end this because it is one of the organizations that is working probably day and night for Hindu unity. And I might add here that along with RSS and Hindu Seva Sangh of America, there were many other organizations, the Swami Narayans, the Bocha Sanwadi Vasi, BAPS, Swami ISKCON,
Yes.
then the Namdharis were with us, Chinmaya Mission. So, there's a groundswell of support for this. And we have to put out this message that it's not sectarian, it's not monolithic, as you said, Sunandaji, and it's not entirely or totally political either. There were no ministers here. I know that the Vice President will address us in the valedictory, but this is not a political gathering.
No, I was joking with Sunanda that actually the only politicians missing were the Indian politicians. There were no Indian politicians here.
I know.
In fact, you're so right. In fact, but the happy note there is I met a lot of, US people of Indian origin who are standing for Congress.
Yes,
and
the second generation.
The second and people who want to go to the Senate, and they've got local, political contacts. So this is the other point, that Hindus, wherever they are, and there are Hindus here from 60 countries. We have a very strong Nepal contingent. We have a contingent from South America, Suriname, and the Vice President of Suriname was here. So the message is that in your own societies, join in, contribute, and enter the political process. Hindus should not be just on the margins of society. Wherever they are, they should involve themselves in all activities. And as again the Sarsangchalakji said, what is important is that nothing is untouchable to the Hindu. And by that he didn't mean just people, but he meant ideas as well as activities. So develop skills in all walks of life, get involved in everything, develop your capacities, and act in a manner that is righteous.
Absolutely.
Back home, Sarsangchalakji's speech has been completely quoted out of context.
But does that surprise you?
No, it doesn't surprise me at all. So I was there, you were there, Dr. Paranjape, you were there. I did not see one word of hate. I did not see one word of... I thought it was an inclusive speech. I did not see him talking against anybody. He was talking for Hindus, but then he is the... that is what his job was at that... what he was told to do. But it wasn't talking about Hindu unity. Why is that considered so...
I'll tell you, there's a simple answer to it. Because Hindu consolidation is threatening to parties who have been playing the divide and rule game in India, and also the denigrate Hindu game. What is the denigrate Hindu game? Hindu symbols, Hindu festivals, Hindu practices, Hindu dress, Hindu ways of life, eating, whatever, should be mocked, and Hindus should be made to feel small, should be made to feel humiliated. And why? So that a non-Hindu identity, call it secularist, call it westernized, prevails, becomes dominant, becomes culture defining, and helps in the political processes of certain parties. So, but I'll tell you, Sunanda ji, I'm afraid that we should have been fully aware, cognizant, as you said, and there should have been attempts to put out the whole speech and not, and counter these distortions. And I think that he himself said that Hindus are not against anybody. But we should not be surprised if there are others who are against us. And we should learn to defend ourselves. I'm afraid we still have not learned to do that. And I want to say to all my friends, Hindu, non-Hindu, secularist, whoever they are, that please, Hindu consolidation is not meant to oppress anybody.
Nor is it a threat.
Is not a threat. So stop turning it into some sort of a bugbear, and to turn, so this is the paradox. The paradox of today is that the most tolerant people have been dubbed or classified or demonized as the intolerant. And we are on a back foot, and that should change. And we have much to learn. We have defects in our society. We have things to learn from other people, other cultures, from the West. In fact, this country has been very hospitable to Hindus. So we should acknowledge all this and move ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then the underlying message of the conference, I felt, was in spite of there being so much diversity, difference of opinions amongst panelists, people and stuff, we were all together once to make a point. And that's
there were many arguments.
There were many arguments.
People will be surprised to know that it wasn't something where everyone was agreeing with each other. Even the panels that we were in, there were...
No, if we all agreed with...
agreements.
And yet not so much acrimony.
Yes.
No, so if we all had ideological agreements, then we would be leftists. But we are not. so we...
Believe me, they also disagree, and they viciously fight, and they also, the worst thing is...
But they disagree on the levels of Marxism.
Also, they purge each other. I mean, we don't want to purge anybody.
Absolutely.
In fact, one of the things I want to say very, very loudly, vocally, is Hinduism or Hindu Dharma, if you want to use that, is not only a kind of religion, but it's an open invitation to a bunch of universal values. Everybody's welcome to the table. come and check it out.
Yes.
That's what I want to say.
Indeed, that's the one of the messages. But what I also wanted to talk to Dr. Paranjape about was he's become a Litfest connoisseur now, so much so that he had a very successful Litfest. He organized a very successful, he was curated one, and then he flew all the way 10,000 miles across the world to attend one, and now he's flying back. So we cannot let you go without talking about the Pondy Litfest. It looked
we were
fascinating.
watching it from the sidelines,
And
we
I was
published pieces about it, we were supporting it, we were in touch. Actually,
so Ajit, we did a podcast with Ajit Datta, who helped you coordinate that.
MyIndmakers was also the official media partner.
Right.
So we were just very, very excited about it.
The only grouse I had against the Pondy Litfest that I was not there, but and I'm just joking. But it was fascinating. So first and foremost, and there was a lot of challenges both significantly before and in the last week. Yet after all of it, you managed to pull it off. So how'd you do it, Professor?
And Vajpayee ji passed away, unfortunately, just a day before.
In fact, we began the festival with a tribute to him,
Yes.
because he was a poet, he was an orator, he was an intellectual. In addition to being a politician, he was a statesman.
Yes.
And I think it was in the fitness of things that we started with a Shraddhanjali to Atal Bihari ji. We read out his work. And you said I'm a Litfest connoisseur. It's true, because I've attended most of the major Litfests as a participant speaker.
Right.
But this is the first one I actually curated. And I tell you, the
on the
headache,
other side of
oh
the
my goodness. But this is the paradox of life, that we were violently opposed by a small group of political parties, left and Dravidian, they call themselves. But that helped us. That put us on the national and international map. And this is a deeper thing, that the kind of resistance you face and overcome brings out your purushartha.
But I quickly want you to counter the claim
Yes.
that you had no ideological diversity there.
Yes.
I want you to let our readers know that is there any truth to it? Did you reach out to other side?
We
and-
reached out to so many people. They could not attend. They did not want to be associated with us. Sometimes, there were issues
did
of.
reach out.
Of course, it's public, in the public domain. In fact, we reached out publicly to one of our major detractors, whom I shall not name, who started in his portal the first attack against the festival. And we reached out to him. Please, I said, come. We'll give you a space. We can debate issues. But this is what it is, that the people who accuse you of intolerance are the most intolerant people themselves.
Absolutely.
They don't believe in debate, because this 5 political party alliance did not say we want to join and debate. They said close it down.
to shut you down.
They wanted to shut
Shut
it
us
down.
down.
But I must also say that we were supported by a lot of people, including, so to speak, left liberal people who put
I know
out
Veer
tweets.
Sanghvi sent to
Veer
us.
Sanghvi was a great support.
Yeah.
And then Salil Tripathi from London wrote something. He was quoted in one of the portals by, as saying that this is really terrible. You
Because
can't.
of censorship.
Yeah,
Something that
we are not going to name the portal that started, but I would not want to touch any loose wires. But anyways, and then stir up controversies.
we don't talk about extremist organizations.
But I'll have to ask you this, Professor, because this has been going on. Did you expect this to happen at the last minute?
No, in fact, we were being assured all along by the local Alliance Francaise people, as well as the president, that they would, go through with it. And then I think the passing away of the former Prime Minister gave them the excuse, you might say, to pull out. And that put us in a great crisis. And yet, I tell you, we faced a series of these setbacks. So Alliance pulled out as our venue partner. The Lieutenant Governor Kiran Bediji, who was our initial patron and had agreed to host a major function and a dinner at the Rajnivas, she pulled out. The French consul pulled out. They were hosting an evening, a cocktail, and they pulled out. And I would say that it was only divine grace, so to speak, that saved us, because many of our venues were shifted to the Sri Aurobindo Society. And they also faced a lot of criticism after the festival, and so on. But I must say one more thing. There were a lot of people, very eminent people, journalists, commentators, intellectuals, Rajya Sabha MPs and other people who were there. And some of them were incensed at the manner in which there was a concerted attempt, almost a conspiracy to shut us down. So in the last day, we had a little bit of a reflection when we closed the Pondy Litfest, and some of them wanted to even put out a very political panel saying we're going to name these people, and I said, please, let's not do that. Let's have a reflection, because we don't want to turn this into a political slang fest, because that's not our intention. So this is what I want to clarify as a curator, that we were almost sucked in or tempted to be sucked into a vortex of political controversy which we avoided, because we remain a festival of arts and ideas where we want all shades of opinion to enjoy free play. We stand for free speech, which is what Alliance Francaise does. So when they kowtow to these elements, then they are not fulfilling their mandate, which is to encourage cultural interaction between France and India, because the Indian Alliance is meant to do that, and also encourage free speech. And they have had speakers from all political shades and views speaking on their premises. But when the other people complained against us, they couldn't stand up. So I'm saying we are in the twilight of liberalism, where liberals are very illiberal because they succumb to forces of intolerance and illiberalism. And it's for us, the true liberals, I call them the right as well as the righteous liberals, to stand for pluralism, freedom, and let us be dharmic liberals. And sometimes we're also compelled to be dharmic warriors, so we shouldn't hesitate to fulfill that role as well.
Maybe the term liberal itself needs to be a little redefined a little bit, or at least in the context that they use it. But what I would like to end this with is, first of all, congratulations, Dr. Paranjape, on a successful fest, and I'm glad you did not kowtow.
But you must come next time and
I
do a
will.
live podcast.
Yes.
So absolutely. And then this is something I want to tell our listeners, that if you do support free speech, if you do support the creative ideas that Dr. Paranjape has just laid out, come in force and attend the Pondy Litfest next year, because you know what is going to stop them? When we double down on it.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I want to say every venue was full, and amazingly, we were raising funds for the festival, but some young people just said, let's just crowdsource.
Yeah.
And within a few weeks, without really going all out, we also raised some money, and people from all over the world were contributing a few thousand rupees or $100 or something. So I'm saying that
it made all the difference.
it made the difference. So I'm saying that was also groundswell of support that we received, and it was very heartening.
Absolutely.
And I want to thank all the volunteers as well as all our supporters who helped us and made this a grand success.
So just for our listeners, the next year, when are you thinking? What is the time frame you're thinking?
Well, usually we want to do it around the same time, because
Which
that
is August.
Well, after 15th of August, which is India's Independence Day, but also Sri Aurobindo's birthday.
Right.
So Pondicherry becomes a so-called Mecca of many Aurobindonians and devotees, and some of them stay back for our festival.
Lovely.
So these are the dates we have in mind next year as well, 17th, 18th, 19th, around that, with the weekend in between. And I want to also say, Aadit and Sunanda ji, that with the help and blessings of our friends, we want to take the Pondy Litfest abroad. And it should not be confined only to Pondicherry. Maybe it should go to Singapore or Kuala Lumpur or Hanoi, who knows. But let us see.
Let us see. This is only the beginning, guys. We are not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yes.
So,
Or to Houston.
Or
to Houston.
I was just
Of
about to
course.
say that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So thank you, Dr. Paranjape, and stay tuned. We'll be doing some more segments from the World Hindu Congress, and I'm also putting the links. I guess as soon as they're uploaded, we have the opening statements of Dr. Paranjape, Sunanda, my statement, Neha, all our speeches from the conclave. They should be posted on MyIndmakers very soon.
Look out for it, and we will be bringing you more information, and more. We'll be broadcasting more and more from here. And once this was over, we will also be doing one big podcast about our reflections about this place. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Till then, thank you, and thank you, Dr. Paranjape, for joining us.
Thank you so much.